Hi, welcome to Jason's Tasty Cooking. Today I am gonna make some pasta sauce. I have found these in my fridge, some tomatoes I forgot about. They're getting a little kind of squishy, so I figured I would make something with them. So I'm gonna make some pasta sauce. Now I'm not just gonna use tomatoes. I'm gonna mix it in with a store-bought spaghetti sauce or pasta sauce. And that is just to change its flavor a little bit to something more flavorful. Now you could also make pasta sauce by using canned tomatoes and some tomato paste, some seasoning. You could use Italian seasoning along with some other favorites. I'm gonna use two different meats. I'm gonna use ground beef here, and I'm also gonna use chicken. Now I'm gonna make the sauce, I'm gonna split it into two. So I have two separate types of sauces to use with noodles, spaghetti, ravioli. I'll be able to make quite a few different meals out of this. And of course some broccoli, because we need vegetables in our sauces. It just adds a little extra flavor. And so it's going to be pretty good. So let's start off by cooking our meat. I'm going to cook the ground beef because I have to open the chicken, and I need to make the chicken into small little bits before I throw it in the frying pan. So we're going to start with this ground beef here. So let's head over to the stove and start this cooking. Okay, we're at the stove. Now we want to make sure the pan is really hot since we're cooking meat. Woo, we can see that jumping around. Now it doesn't quite look like it's hot enough. It looks like the water there is kind of fading away. We need it to be a lot hotter since we're cooking some meat. So I'm going to raise the heat here. I'm just going to wait just a few seconds for that heat to get through. All right, let's test again. Ooh, almost there. So close. I can't believe. It feels pretty hot. I could probably start it. I mean, it's pretty close. It is hot. So let me go ahead and open this ground beef here. And I also need a oil spray so it doesn't stick. As soon as I spray this on, it's going to start smoking. So I need to throw my meat in there and put the lid on and just let it cook for just a minute or so before I start mixing it up. So we're going to get our spray. And you can see it's not like some of the other videos where it just starts smoking like crazy. So it's not quite fully hot, but it's hot enough for us to start cooking this. So I have, this is 96% fat-free. So I'm just gonna go ahead and squish this around and get it cooking. Let's get the lid on. And we're just gonna come back in just a minute. Okay, so we got it going there. Let me open this up. I'm going to add some seasoning here. Okay, and you're probably wondering, why am I adding so much seasoning? Since I'm using a store-bought sauce. And that is because I am adding tomatoes to it. And tomatoes are going to taste really plain if I don't add sauce. And being that this is going to be a pasta sauce, I want to make sure my meat is cut up into small bits, so I'm not eating big chunks. Unless, of course, you want meatballs. But since we're not just making spaghetti here, I'm going to use this for a variety of different pastas. So we want to make sure it's nice and chopped up here. Okay. Now I'm gonna let this cook a little bit. And while this is cooking, I am gonna go throw those fresh tomatoes in a blender and get them finely chopped. Okay, I'm gonna take the tips off these tomatoes here, or at least the green parts. I'm just gonna throw them in. We'll do that with that one. And then we're gonna dump our tomatoes in here. Oof, it's gonna be quite a few. Right, now we'll just squish this on, throw it on the blender, and we'll get this started. Okay, a little chunky. I don't want it too smooth. I do like a bit of chunks in there. So we're going to take this and we're going to pour half of it in with our ground beef, and the other half is going to go in with our chicken. So let's head on over to the stove. We'll just go ahead and put this in so it can cook. Now the thing about fresh tomatoes like this, gotta turn you down. All right, let's get this to where you can see. There you go. Fresh tomatoes is they have to cook for a while. So our meat right here is ready to be chopped up again. Just go ahead and pile this over and chop it up. But the tomatoes, you want to cook them for, or at least simmer them for minimum of 1 hour. And if you want to do it the Italian way, you would cook it for about 8 hours. Whew, that's a long time. I usually do that with the chicken. Is I'll put the chicken in with the sauce I make, and then just let it simmer nice and slow on the stovetop for about 8 hours. You have to add water to it every few hours to make sure it doesn't dry out too much. But the results are absolutely amazing. Okay, so that is there. Okay, there's that. Then pour half of it in. There we go. That's close enough, right? Okay, we'll just mix this in here. And while this is going on, I'm going to go ahead and add the store-bought pasta. Okay, go ahead and throw this in. Oof, I think I used too much. Well, too much for that. That's all right. We'll just have less chicken sauce is all. I'll just mix this in all together. And I will let this simmer after I get it mixed in for about 20 minutes, and then I will check it for its moisture content and see if I need to add moisture to it. If I do, I'll add the moisture at that time. It's about a cup of water, maybe 2 cups. But really depends on how high you have the heat and how well your lid seals. So for me, about 1 cup of water after 20 minutes, and then let it simmer for 40 more minutes. And that'll give us about an hour of cook time. Now you don't really have to cook it that long. It just, the tomatoes, the fresh tomatoes taste a lot better if you cook them for a while. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll go ahead and put the lid on here and just let that cook. Oh yeah, I got my chicken breast here. And it is slightly frozen. And that's just to make it easier to cut up. So I'm just going to cut this into little slices. And then I'm going to make sure it's in little tiny bits for my sauce. Okay. There we go. hopefully that is small enough. That should be plenty small. I got the pan on the stovetop warming up for this. I'm just gonna make sure I go through this and make sure it's cut up pretty good. We just want little tiny bite-sized pieces for our pasta sauce. Okay, so that is there. Now, since I've been touching raw meats, we always want to make sure we wash our hands with soap and water so we're not spreading germs around, especially in our kitchen. Otherwise, we'll make people sick. So let's wash our hands. And I do have the pot warming up, and you're probably wondering, why do I have this broccoli just sitting here? It's because if I put it in too early, it's going to be squishy and soggy, and I don't really want to do that to my broccoli. I wanted to keep its shape, so I'm going to put it in maybe about 10-15 minutes before I remove my pans from the burner. So we'll just let that sit there for a little bit. Okay, now at my stovetop, let's see. Oh yeah, can't really see that. I didn't get enough water on my hands. Let's try a little more. There we go. That is beating like that. Woo, that is perfect. Okay, that pot is warm enough. Now, I'm just gonna throw this water out. Woo. Right into the kitchen. And we are going to get our meat. Here we go. And our spray oil, because this is going to start smoking for sure. All right. There we go. And I'm going to dump my meat in there. Okay. Just going to let that cook for a while. Chicken's gonna be a lot different than ground beef. It's gonna actually stick to the pan until it cooks for a little bit. So we're just gonna put the lid on and let it cook for about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll come and we'll stir it up. Okay, it's been a few minutes. I think I can stir this up now. Oh yeah, perfect. And I do have the heat fairly low. I didn't want this to burn while it cooks. Okay. So you can see all the little bits are separated. And just like the ground beef, I am going to add my Italian seasoning. Okay, there we go. Whew. I'm gonna add a little pepper to this, just because I like my chicken a little more spicy. There we go. Go ahead and stir this in. There we go. And now we're gonna add our tomatoes, our raw tomatoes. So we'll go ahead and pour these in. Assuming they even come out. Whew, there it is. I was gonna have to force these guys out. Whew. There we go. I'm gonna mix that up a little bit. Okay. I think that's gonna be just enough sauce. I'm gonna take my store-bought sauce, pour it in here for a little extra flavor. And of course there seems to be a little bit too much in there, so I'm going to mix it with some water and shake it up. Okay. So just shake this up. Get all the sauce out of the jar. We'll pour it in there. And don't really worry about that extra water we put in. It's actually going to cook off and evaporate during this cooking process. So we're just going to stir this up. Okay. And being that this has less store-bought sauce in it, I'm probably going to have to add some extra spices. But we're going to let this cook for a while, and then we're going to taste it and see what we need to add to it. Okay. That's cooking. I'll go ahead and put the lid on. And always remember, keep your handles inwards so no one walks by and knocks them off. And especially so young children don't grab onto this, because I would hate for some hot sauce like this to get poured onto a kid. It would stick to them and it would severely burn them. We do not want that. Okay, just gonna clean this up a little bit and we're gonna let this cook. We're actually gonna let it cook for 20 minutes. I don't know if you remember that part, but yes, 20 minutes. We'll come back and check on it. Okay, our meat's been cooking for about 20 minutes. Let's check on it. You can see it's thickened up quite a bit. The ground beef has anyway. So we are going to add about a cup of water to this, because we still have about 20 more minutes for this to cook. Just go ahead and add that. We'll mix it up a little bit. Okay. And we do have the heat on low, so it's just nice and slow simmer. There we go. The chicken sauce here, it's cooking a little faster, but you can see we did add extra water to this, and it is still pretty thin. So we're not going to have to add any extra water to that one. And it's going to cook for another 40 minutes, but before it's done, we're going to, maybe 5 or 10 minutes before it's done, we're going to check it and see if we need to add any spices to it at that time. So we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so it is time to add our broccoli. So let's go ahead and head over and add this up. Here we go. And here we are. Okay. There we go. Food is simmering. Let's check on it. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay. So it's thickened up quite a bit here. You can see it's only a little bit of water on top. So we're going to take half our broccoli. We're just going to scoop that right in there. I'm just going to stir it in. Okay. I'm just going to let this cook for about 5 minutes. And this one, pour that one in too. Here's the ground beef here. This one is ready too. Nice thick sauce there. Okay. There's that. Now, since we're close to finishing, we need to get a spoon and taste our food. Okay. Let's taste this. I'm gonna give me a piece of chicken with some sauce. There we go. That is pretty good. It's very tomatoey. Needs a bit more Italian sauce. Let's try the meat here. I want to make sure I don't get any of the broccoli I just put in. And I'm just doing a small taste here. That was perfect. This one needs more spice. Okay. So let me come back some more spice here. There we go. That should be good. Just gonna stir that in. And then we'll come back in about 5 minutes. And we'll remove this from the heat. Meanwhile, we have pasta. Okay, so we have our pasta sauce. Now what are we gonna do? Okay, so variety of different pastas, and we're missing one. You can get frozen or fresh ravioli. This is frozen. This is beef. So you can throw this in to your pasta sauce and have that. Or you could do some spaghetti noodles, which is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to use some spaghetti here. It's the whole wheat. I just want the angel hair. Angel hair cooks so much faster, and that's what I usually use. You could also use the tricolor, spirally, the mac and cheese style, the little curly noodles, all kinds of different noodles you can use. So once I take that off, I'm going to throw the water on, bring it to a boil, and then put our noodles inside. Okay, our water is boiling. It's very important that it's boiling before we put our noodles in. And that is because we don't want our noodles to stick to the pan or to themselves. Now, I'm only one person here. I'm single, so I eat alone. So I just need enough for myself. So I'm just gonna grab, maybe that many noodles here. That is all I need right there. All right, and we'll just, you can put it in there, but I like my noodles cut up into small bits. So I am gonna break these just because I'll cut it up anyway if I eat my spaghetti that way. So we got it in there. I'm just gonna give it a stir. And this is gonna boil for about maybe 6, 7, 10 minutes, depending on the altitude where you are. Here in Albuquerque, it is 5,600 feet, 5,600 feet above sea level. So water boils at a lower temperature. Okay, I'm gonna leave that at an angle. If I close it all the way, it's gonna create some bubbles and boil over it because of starch. So I'm just gonna leave it like that, and I'll come and check on it in a little bit. All right, it's been about 6 or 7 minutes. Let me grab a piece and see if this is ready. There we go. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, I'm gonna drain this and then pour it into my bowl. Okay, pour some in here. Ooh, that pan is hot. Okay, and then I will just scoop some. Ooh, that pasta is hot. Oh goodness, why is it so hot? Probably because it just came off the stove. Why else would it be hot? All right, there we go. Got 2 of these. Let me get a bigger spoon now. Okay, I'm gonna pour some of this. Here's one of them. This is the meat sauce. Okay, there we go. I like my spaghetti very saucy. Okay. here is the chicken sauce. Go ahead and pour that into this bowl. Every time I look at this, I see the little chunks of chicken. I think this is like corn. To me, it looks like little bits of corn in here, but I know it is not. Okay, just gonna mix this up. Yeah, that one's a little watery, but that's okay. Mix this one up a little bit. I'll actually put a little more sauce in this one. Okay. There we go. Just like that. We'll get Parmesan cheese. I don't think I have much more in here, but that's okay. Maybe it'll be just enough. There we go. A little sprinkle, and there we have it. Okay, we're gonna head over to the counter and we're gonna taste test. My UV light is really throwing off the color from my plants I'm growing over here. So we have a chicken and we have ground beef. Okay. Let me taste this one. And very hot and steamy. Oh. So the chicken here, very tender. It just comes right apart. That's how we win our chicken. Okay, ground beef. It's in little tiny bits. You can see it here. And we have the, there's broccoli in this one as well. You can see the broccoli there. Ooh, look at that steam. Oh yeah, that is good. Very well spiced. Yep, that's gonna be my dinner. So, cooking isn't about exact recipes, right? It's about getting blends of spices and flavors together to make a meal that you like. Not that everyone else likes, not some generic one that you get in a restaurant or buy pre-made. You cook because you like certain flavors and you can add those extra flavors to your food. So, hopefully, you'll enjoy cooking some spaghetti for yourself. It is quite easy. Whether it's chicken or ground beef, you have lots of options. So you don't have to pick spaghetti noodles. You can pick all kinds of noodles or just ravioli in there. It makes a variety of different meals. You can even make a chip dip with some melty cheese in there and then eat it with some chips. So, hopefully this is a thumbs up for you, and thanks for watching.